That's people's problem right there. Every time they open up a pack, when they look at the card, they're like the first thing they look at PSA 10.
Yep, they're biased. I'm
You
biased.
know what I mean?
I'm
It's like,
biased, right?
not every card that come out of a pack is gonna be a PSA 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the TCG Table podcast. My name is Alan Lee, aka Pokemon Hero, and today I have a very special guest. My guest today is a personal good friend, great friend of mine. Personally, I actually looked up to him pretty much the first time we met and first time we crossed paths. And really, this person is not a vendor in the traditional sense. He is actually known for the ability to snipe raw, ungraded cards off of eBay and being able to send it to PSA graded for perfect tens, multiples of it. So you probably seen him flex all his Moonbryons on his Instagram, right? Countless of them. So at this time, please welcome my guest today, none other than Nine Koi Collectibles. Jack, how you doing, man?
I'm good.
Yeah? You're a little nervous?
A lot nervous.
A lot of nervous? I know you don't really typically stand up in front of the camera, so I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me that you do that. So, all right. Well, you've probably seen the show many times. I know we talked about it. I always love to start off telling a personal story of how I met my guest, how, this hobby is intertwined. So, I'd love for you to recall because I completely forgot, actually. I remember seeing you once and then I'm like, I don't even remember what happened. And I know that, after that, maybe couple of shows after, my wife, Nurse Joy Vibe, she keeps telling me, hey, there's this guy that keep coming to the table trying to sell you stuff. You never hear. He always waits for you. So I would love to see if you recall how we actually first crossed paths.
Technically, that's not the first time we met. The first time we met was at Regional.
Yep, I remember that.
I went there and then I was looking for a card, the Charizard,
Which one?
the Poncho.
Oh, okay, Poncho. Yep.
So I was walking around and I noticed that you were just standing there smiling with this big old smile. And I was like, I looked at you and you're like,
I'm going to cook him.
no, you were like, can I help you? Or is there something that you're looking for?
Yeah.
Then I told you what I was looking for. And then you're like, oh, I don't have that.
Yeah. You're like, I know, you poor bastard.
That's the first time we met.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. I think I remember that show, and then I think I remember somebody else came, I think after you, and they were like, oh, I have all these Chinese Captain Pikachu cards, right? And he was trying to sell off. So I think that's when I was like, I don't remember which gentleman at the time came to me, because they also were like, oh, this is, if you buy this is our first deal, many more to come. I'm like, at that time, I was like, go screw up. I don't want Captain Pikachu cards, I don't know the price of them, brand new, untested, all that. Retroactively, you could have made money, but, such is life. But yeah, that was the first time. And I remember after that, I think we got connected through Instagram.
Yes.
And, I think I was telling you I was grading cards, and you're like, oh, I grade cards. And then you were showing me all the cards you grade. I'm like, oh, crap. Put me in my spot. Yeah, do you remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, you were flexing on me a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit.
Not flexing.
Yeah. But okay, yeah. So I kind of, I think obviously I invite you because I believe that I think this show, I always trying to bring something new to the show. Being the most controversial, hottest podcast, right, guys? I always love to bring on guests who offer something new to the show. And I think what you do is very, very special. And personally, I'm just geeking out and admiring your skills, right? Your ability as a grader is fascinating. And I know, just off of the camera, we talk about it. Obviously, I know you haven't always done Pokemon cards. So I would love to just learn your backstory of how you got into cards in general. I know you're kind of like a sports guy beginning and then transfer to Pokemon. So yeah, tell me your backstory, how you got started, and I'm sure people love to hear that too. So
Or you want the backstory of the sports part, or you want the backstory of the
oh
Pokemon?
oh, oh
We just
go right into wherever you think is the pivotal moment you got into like cards and you're like I want to do grading for as a profession.
that would be Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yep. Because what is it? During the pandemic, I graded sports card here and there,
Yeah.
but like opening sports wasn't like something the kids like. Yeah. So during that time, I had to find something that the kids like.
Yeah.
So we instead of buying like sports cards to open up, we bought Pokemon, and they enjoyed it.
For your family, for your kids,
For the
family,
kids,
yeah.
for the family, we all got together. We opened up packs.
Yeah. you open up, here's a LeBron James. Kids are like, get out of here.
Yeah, you open up LeBron James, John Morant. They're like, who's this?
Nice.
So that wasn't for them. So that's why, like, when we were doing Pokemon, I enjoyed it too.
Okay.
I enjoyed the opening, the cards.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So when did you go from like just like okay, I'm opening sports and maybe grading them, and then now opening Pokemon, you're like, okay, I should definitely grade them. Because when did you get into Pokemon? Like what year? Are we talking about pandemic era? What are we talking about?
No, I only graded Pokemon cards during the pandemic.
So starting in the pandemic.
Yep.
So you were opening pack before the pandemic, or
So we opened packs during the pandemic.
ah,
I started grading during the pandemic.
okay, okay. What? I never got in that far back. I know it was like pretty popular, right? Because Logan Paul opens it. Everybody's opening, trying to open vintage. Was it hard to find product? I mean, given pandemic, obviously, but
So during the pandemic, right, there was more. It was harder to find basketball than Pokemon,
right, okay.
and then basketball was more expensive than Pokemon.
Wow,
Pokemon was cheaper.
that's crazy. What a world we live in, guys.
Yeah.
Who was the champion during the pandemic? It was it Lakers? Because LeBron was
LeBron
with the
James.
Lakers already, right?
Yep.
Yep. That's probably why, right? That was the only time that was like still, yeah. But man, that's just crazy. Blows my mind how a few years can just change things so drastically.
Yep.
Yeah. But okay, so you go from like I just want to open Pokemon cards. Now you're like grading them. What makes you decide like, man, that I can see myself doing this as a professional, right? Like walk me through that process and how do you become like, hey, I'm gonna grade cards full time.
Okay. Grading it full time because you already know the return on it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what we
So-
all do it, right? Yeah.
In the beginning, the return is not that much because not a lot of people the Pokemon wasn't that hype yet.
Yep.
So, but the return is still fine,
Yeah. But when did you go like, okay, I can do this all day? Because I already know what evolving. We'll get to that, guys. But man, that is a long process. And then
Think about it. You were stuck in the pandemic. What else there to do? What
wow.
else there to do? You're at home all the time. There's nothing to do. So you open up packs.
Yeah.
You send cards in to get graded. When they come out with good results and the returns is great, then you could turn it into a business.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I was just sitting home being a bum at that point, guys. I was like, we also, during that time, our daughter was kind of like growing up, right? So we just like spend time with her. That's it. That's all we did. And then, my wife, she's a nurse. So she actually still goes into work. So I was like home just being a home husband and still working remote at the time.
Oh, my wife is also a nurse.
Yeah, I know. And it's the same year too. We talk about it. But I think during the pandemic, I was into day trading. And so it was like that allowed me to kind of understand this like volatile market now. So I thought that was pretty cool parallels, right? But then I wish I got into Pokemon then. What was the set you were opening during the pandemic the most?
Hidden Fate.
Hidden Fate.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll talk about that, guys. I know he has the card to show for, but yeah. Um, the question now I kind of want to know, right, is you grading, right? But not a lot of people in general, especially at that time, like maybe even now I can see it, but during that time in the pandemic where, the Pokemon return on investment is not like amazing yet. So did you just kind of like naturally spend more time finding yourself doing more, and then eventually like, I made enough money, I can kind of like do this full time? Well, what was it? Is there like a particular moment, pivotal point in time and you're like, I could do this like as my profession?
During that moment.
Yeah.
Because so you know how you're stuck at home, right? So after you get them graded,
Yeah.
you sell them off of eBay.
Mm.
So after you sell them off of eBay, the return came back, and it's pretty decent.
Yeah. So
Even though there was not a lot of hype to Pokemon during that time, but still the return was still decent.
yeah. So you were selling on eBay. That makes a whole lot of sense. 'Cause obviously, right? Like pandemic, you can't just like doing some hustle deal on the side. So eBay was good. Yeah, okay. And of course, I think thanks to Logan Paul, right? He was also pumping. So I think people were buying kind of very similar to now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that make a whole lot of sense. So for grading, right? Was it scary at all? Like I think what I'm trying to draw out of that is I know a lot of people who probably watching this, they probably dabble or graded or wanting to grade, but they don't know what to look for, I'm sure, right? There's so many people who reach out to me asking me if like something's gradable. I seen it at shows. When you first got started, right? Even though you have the sports cards background, was it scary? I don't know. Like, I mean, when I first went into grading, I know nothing, right? And I was just testing it out. So, I mean, yeah.
It's the same thing as basically when you watch tutorial and all that other stuff. Watching it isn't the same as you actually doing it.
100%.
You have to do it in order to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, like some people will get it, send in like let's say 10 cards, and their ROI return is their gem rate return is lower than what they expect.
Yep.
So then they just quit.
They give up
Yep.
easily.
Like when I first started out, my gem rate was really, really low.
Yeah. What was it?
It was less than 50.
Oh, yeah. I think only I remember one submission because after I did a couple of submissions, I think I told you when we were chatting, I told you my gem rate was about 70%, and then I think a few months after we like just really started hanging out, remember I showed you that one submission that came back, it was like
Oh yeah.
15%. I'm like, oh my god, I got cooked.
That's kind of looked like my submission for the first 6 months or so.
Yeah. So see, I have a neck for grading too.
Because nobody's gonna master something overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And after a while, it's clockwork.
Yeah.
You know what?
That's true.
You got so used to it.
Yeah. But then I think what people are afraid of, and certainly I'm afraid of when I send in the grading, especially not knowing what we know, right? Because I would say myself as a vendor and probably you at some point got put on like an accelerated course for success, right? Because you're either success or fail, just like you said. Mm-hmm. You have to try it or you kind of fail. So I would say we're blessed to have the ability to see this many cards, right? Typical audience, they might not get that. I think the biggest thing for me that trying to emphasize what the difference is for them is they don't get that positive feedback or negative feedback from PSA, for example, because you just get a grade. They don't tell you like, oh,
they don't tell you what's wrong with it.
Yeah, they don't tell you what's wrong with it.
You're gonna have to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, sometimes there's nothing wrong with it, guys. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, what the, So, yeah, so it's certainly scary for certain people to, because look, every time you try, right, it is some sort of degen activity. Grading is a degen activity, right? Shout out to the Card Lounge, with the episode with Jaw Charm, because they were talking about it, right? Like, sending and grading is a gamble. You're not guaranteeing anything, and you have to put money in every single time you grade, man. So that's a degen activity, guys. So if you want to degen, send your cards to grading. you know. But yeah, so with that said, like let's get a little bit more deeper into your daily workflow now, right? So, you know, you send cards in grading. What does that look like on a typical day? Walk me through your typical day activity.
My typical day activity will be like, I wake up in the morning, get the kids ready to go to school, then I'm on my phone
Oh man.
from the time I drop them off to the time I pick them up.
Damn.
So that's like 7, 8 hours.
It's a full-time job, guys. You guys gotta know, man. It's not easy. All right.
But then some days, I wake up super early, like 4, try to find the good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I know there are days that you wake up and I still haven't gone to sleep and we're like talking and I'm like, wait, what? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because like different, time zone, people post up stuff.
Yeah.
So certain time when you wake up, you see new posts already. So then you be the first one to snipe it.
That's true. Just take everybody back for the viewers at home. Because you and I talk about your workflow. I know it pretty intimately now, but for those who are watching at home or listening on the podcast, Jack pretty much just every single day wakes up 4 or 5 a.m. Because that's East Coast time essentially. Goes on eBay, goes online because that's primarily the source where you're sourcing your cards from, not in person, which is just again so makes me like admire this man so much more, right? He goes online, looks at the picture, making sure that it is something that's gradable, right? And he essentially just on his phone all day, and that's just the beginning of it, right? So, with that said, I'll let you tell the rest of the story, but I just want to make sure everybody anchor on what your beginning process look like and where you're sourcing your card, right? So yeah, take it away, man. Like walk me through. Now you see the card on eBay. What do you do?
So let's say if I find a listing, the first thing I do is I look at centering. It's very important that you look at centering.
And centering, by centering, what do you mean for people who like just listening, and trying this for the first time?
Like the card has to be well centered.
Okay.
So like the borders
Yep.
has to be well centered.
Got it.
Top to bottom, left to right.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So continue. Sorry.
Second will be the corners and then the edges. Since you're looking at the corner, you might as well look at the edges.
Yeah.
And then last will be surface.
Service. Okay. Obviously, you're looking at front and back at the same time.
Yes.
How do you?
But then when you're looking at a picture, right? If the card in the photo is in a penny sleeve or a top loader, it's hard to tell if the card has scratches or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you gotta contact them and tell them to take it out and see the card the actual card itself.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of tips and tricks you told me too, right? Like you always, if you do contact somebody to look at a photo, you tell them take a picture top down on a non-white surface because people hide whitenings, right, on white backgrounds. So I know that. But still, like, even today, like, knowing what you know, I tried this online, and I'm just like, like, it's a whole different thing.
But did you actually buy a card online?
Yeah, I did.
And what did it grade?
We'll get to that. We're not gonna spoil the alert here. Yeah. But I mean, let's just say I've done it. And it yield good result. But even then, you saw I was like hitting you up like, yo, what do you think?
Yeah, because I always tell you, like, okay, the photo is there. It's pretty much an HD.
Yep.
So just use your finger to zoom in.
Yeah. See, you make it sound so easy.
Yes.
Years of practice on this, man. Okay, so it's not that easy, guys. But
like I said, like watching tutorial or hearing people tell you to do it, you actually have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
You know what? You're gonna fail, but you gotta keep trying.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you really want to do it.
Yeah. So I think for those who, seriously interested in this grading topic, right? And if this is something you want to try at home, start out with like maybe a cheaper card, right? See if you can perfect the craft without, obviously, don't go buying Moonbryons on eBay as your first card and be like, oh, it didn't grade a 10. I'm wiped out on my account.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Problem with that is, like you said, how do you find cards on eBay?
Yep.
It's like you're searching for the same card that everybody else is searching for. Of course, you're not gonna find it.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
So what you want to do is you want to search for a card that, people are not actually looking at.
Yeah.
So a different set.
Yep. I think obviously as us hobbyists or investors here, right? People tend to chase after the shiny object, right? I do. I certainly do.
People chase for the most expensive object.
Yeah. So take that as a lesson, guys. If you are seriously interested in it become a grader or just get better at grading, again, it's about testing your skills, right? Obviously, if you got a really nice top chase and you grade it at 10, of course, to maximize your return on investment. But making sure you're not wiping out your account or whatever investment you're putting into it, it doesn't hurt to try something smaller, right? Maybe like a illustration rare, something that you're like, okay, $10, $20. If this doesn't grade a 10, it's not going to be the worst case scenario, and test that out, right? So I think that's kind of what, will allow you to perfect your craft instead of just like buying that one big chase. So, but yeah. Okay. So now you say, I like that card. Somehow you find one, you purchase it. Is that it? You just then send it to grading? What do you do?
You have to look at, so once you receive it, right, you have to look at it, like close up, any dents, scratches, or whatever.
Yeah.
And if it's good enough, then you send it off.
Okay. What do you do? Any like cleaning prep to it? I don't know. Do you air dry it? making sure that, how do you even know that the person sent the same card? For example, right?
From the picture. So basically, when you receive it, once you get the card, you look at the card and you be like, okay, the centering and everything looks exactly like the picture. There was a few times that somebody did send me cards that did not look exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So, but eBay policy, you can send it back.
Okay. Does eBay gets pretty like generous on the buyer side? How do you reconcile something like that?
Well, think about it. When you buy it, right, even though it says no returns
Yeah.
on the seller side,
Yeah.
eBay do have a buyer's protection, a 3 days buyer's protection. So the day you receive it, you can return it.
Interesting. See, little tips and tricks we're picking up from just sharing the information, right? So yeah, guys, like give this a try, and making sure that the card is legitimate, right, is as very important as choosing the centering and all that too, right? Making sure you get the right card at the end of the day, right? So yeah. Okay. So now you got 1 card, 2 cards, whatever, 10 cards, you're sending it off. I mean, you wait, obviously, but I mean, you used to be a lot better. Now it's like, I would imagine majority of people watching this like, hey, I'll just go to GameStop and submit this. What do you do? Like, walk me through your submission process.
My submission process. So let's say once I finish sorting out the amount of cards, right? Let's say if I have like about 100, when I hit the 100 mark,
Yeah.
I will send it in.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah.
Either I send it in, or depend how much the value is, I might just drop it off.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we are blessed to live in a facility, a vicinity that has the facility, right?
Yeah.
Other people had to mail it in, right? Unfortunately. So, but your local car shop also does. PSA, affiliated, they can help you submit your card. Obviously, GameStop is another one. We can talk about the legitimacy of GameStop. I'll pick his brain here in a second. But yeah, those are different ways, right? I do think that like dropping off and personally submitting is better because, as you guys know, right? You can download the app, you can track your cards, right? It's nothing worse than like going to a black hole and you're like, oh, I don't know what happened in my cards for like 6 months now, So, yeah. Okay, so you have 100 cards. Let's just say 100 is a batch. Are you submitting on the same grading level? Do you submit to the lowest level? Is there any preference? Like, do you base off of how much value the card
Value,
is?
based on the value.
Okay.
So that's how I submit it.
Ah, okay, okay. Do you get to a point now where you submitted enough batches where you can be like, okay, I can submit this Moonbryon and this Gengar VMAX at like the 4 to 6 months tier and I'll still be fine because I have enough runway to get my card back in 6 months and still be relevant? Or do you like, nah, I'm gonna...
No, you're gonna send it. You're gonna have to send it in the tier that whatever the card value is, because if it get lost, you're only gonna. If you send it in a lower tier, if it get lost, you're only gonna get paid whatever you wrote down.
Yeah, yeah, guys. Think about that whole entire spectrum as an investment. Don't just be like, oh, I'm gonna drop it off at GameStop, right? Or don't just be like, oh, I'm gonna mail it in the cheapest tier because that's all I can afford because it could come back to bite you.
Yep.
You have I mean, I know you faced some of those issues before.
If it get damaged, then whatever you wrote down, that's what they're gonna pay you out.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, we have multiple incidents. Remember that? Remember recently, right? Like you were showing me a card, like the Victini, the red card. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I was actually the one who showed you. I'm like, bro, there's a hair in the card, like slapped in the card, on top of the card, and you're like, what?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, good job, PSA. We love you, but shout out PSA guys. Come on, man.
Actually, they had to send that card back and get it re-slabbed.
That was kind of gross, man.
And then by the time it came back, the value just tanked.
Yeah, and then they're not accommodated for that, right? Yeah. That's crazy. And then they're like, oh, I'll offer it by at 81%. Yeah. Okay. Cool, man. So now I know, again, we talked about this off camera. I already know the answer, but I want to walk through why PSA, right? And specifically your take on PSA versus Beckett versus CGC and maybe now Tag and other brand. Like, why did you, when you first start going into grading, why PSA? Because at that point, I think CGC was still pretty pristine, and Beckett is always kind of like the gold standard with the black label, right? I want to kind of see why did you choose PSA over everybody else and exclusively almost done that to forever? Huh?
So, like I said, I used to do sports first. So I used to grade all my sports card in PSA. So to me, that's more, I do whatever is more comfortable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then on top of that, PSA is local here.
Yeah.
And for me to go with Beckett, I have to ship it out to
Texas, yep. I know that for sure because I had a couple of cards in there right now.
Yep. And during that time, if you ship out stuff, there's a lot of stuff that get lost in the mail. And even now, it's like history repeats itself, guys.
So, okay. I've always looked at, so this is interesting insight, guys, to get into my brain a little bit. I have friends, other customers that, try to grade, and they've always asked me, they're like, oh, would you send this into, Tag? Because Tag this year was kind of a big thing in the beginning of the year. Would you send this to Tag? Would you send this to PSA? Beckett, what do you think? Right? I've always told people this. If you are doing submission as your personal collection, and you're like, this will never see the day of life, and I'm just keeping it in my closet. Whenever I want to look at it, I'll never sell it. Great, whatever you want. That's your preference. Whichever slab you enjoy looking at the end of the day, that's the one you want to do, right? Now, with that set aside, we all know this hobby runs on money, right? The more valuable your card is, the prettier it is, right? We just talked about this. So the way I think about this, PSA is the equivalent of US dollar, right? Beckett, in Pokemon specifically, right? Beckett is like Canadian dollar, right? Yeah, it works, but it's a little bit off. CGC is like the Chinese dong. Like nobody wants it unless they have to pick it up, right? And tag, I don't know, maybe European or something. So what I'm trying to say is I like to think about the grading company as the kind of like the currency.
The currency.
Yeah, it's if you think about it that way, I think it makes a whole ton of sense. Every single vendor for Pokemon specifically, right? Maybe other TCG. I know One Piece is big on Beckett. That's because a lot of cards could potentially get black label. So you're gonna want to, understand the card market you're into, right? But for the most part, for Pokemon, PSA is kind of the gold standard, and that's because US currency, PSA, is kind of what we trade, right? So it's easy to understand the value of a certain card. Now, there are exceptions, right? I know for a fact that not right now, I think, but a Moonbryon in a Beckett 10 goes for more money previously than a PSA Moonbryon because of the population, right? But it does, again, becomes that's the only delta difference. And just one or two bad auction, and you're right back at where you are, right? So you face some of those challenges. So guys, I think you want to think about what you are trying to grade a certain card for, and then ultimately choose the company based on what you're looking to do. So I think that's kind of like my insights on understanding. And when I look at cards, what to grade, where to grade it, I look at it like that, like currency, man. They're like US dollar, nothing better than grading US dollar and trading US dollar, guys. Okay, man. Yeah. So that's really insightful information. I know, grading is always like a preference thing at the end of the day, right? So just like I said, you guys, for whatever purposes you want to grade your card for, do that. Always say collect what you enjoy. If you cannot look at it, there's no fun in it, right? That's why it is a hobby. So changing the conversation back a little bit here, stepping back, I'm curious to see, right? Obviously you're grading cards, and I know how you grade and I know what you grade for, but maybe walk the viewers through what sets are you looking for? It's like, is it open season when a new set comes out? Walk me through your process of that, right? What do you enjoy grading?
So, any new set that comes out, I wouldn't buy any raw from it.
Really? Really?
Yep.
Why is that?
Right when it first comes out, the price is so high. So by the time you buy it and get them graded,
They tank.
they tank.
Huh. That's interesting. But isn't that the same, like the best time to find a card that has the best centering and condition and all that? Because people just pull it and they want to sell it, right?
Because there will be more of it. If you really think about it, even Evolving Sky until now, you still could find raw cards. People are still opening it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right?
Yeah.
Even Sun and Moon, people are still opening it. You can still find Tag Team, Team Up, and all that.
Wow. Okay. That's fascinating, because I've always thought, I was like, man, every time I see you getting submission, I'm like, oh, they're pretty modern. So I was like, man, must be the way to go. And I'm like trying to buy the new set immediately, right?
Yeah, I don't touch it until until the market level out.
Level out. Okay. Yeah. Well, do you have like a rule, a day, like wait 6 months, that kind of thing, or like when? How do you gauge that?
Depend. Sometimes I might even wait, until the next set come out. Then I'll touch that set.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I know
because you already know where the market's gonna be at on those cards.
Interesting. Yeah. Because I know you recently graded some of the gold cards from Mega Evolution that kind of coincide with the Phantasmal Flame release. So, all right, I'm learning something new too, guys.
You noticed that, right?
Yeah. Actually, that's true.
Like, you don't see me buying Phantasmal Flame. You saw me grading the other one.
Meanwhile, I showed you, like, look, we pulled this. I'm gonna grade it. Yeah, be nice to me, guys. Be nice to me on the grading. Okay, so yeah, let's go into that a little bit. Again, I know I asked you plenty of questions, but for the viewers and listeners, right? Let's talk about this Pokemon crash, right? We're crashing, guys. We're dying because everything went up 100%, and then we're dropping 20% in the market, right? We're dying now, right? How do you are you worried that when you buy a card it dips too fast, and then by the time you grade just like that, like how do you set yourself up for success so then you're profiting when you do something like that?
So I buy when the market goes up.
Yeah.
I buy when the market goes down.
Okay.
So regardless, I just buy. It doesn't matter if it goes up. It doesn't matter if it goes down. Because if people are buying when they're going up, and then why are they afraid when it's going down? Shouldn't that be a steal?
True. I think a lot of people, and certainly I myself, even have that same mentality of we're not looking at, like, it's very different because you are looking at hundreds of cards all in totality, right? I think most people, they're going to be like, I'm going to look for one card, I'm going to buy. And that's when that matters, right? Because it's not like law of average here, because they're like, I'm gonna buy this one card at the high, and then by the time it grades, it's just gonna drop.
That's true. That's why I buy multiples,
Yeah.
volumes.
So lesson, guys, because I'm learning this too, because I always ask this man, because I'm like, how do you not get wiped out? Because man, I just grade this and it's barely like 25% profit.
Think about it. When I buy stuff, I buy where the raw price is at, not where the 10 is at.
Sure, exactly.
So when people are like, let's say for vendors, if they're buying like 80% or 75%,
Yeah.
if the market dipped 20, they're kind of like,
Yeah.
either you break even or you just take an L.
Yep.
That's it.
Raw
For
card
me,
is always
it's
fine.
like, even if the market dipped 20, I'm still in the green.
That's true. Yeah. I think, again, goes back to the Pokemon crash, right? I think people just, in this year alone, got so used to seeing their profit double, triple in a matter of months, right? And when that doesn't happen, they're now like, oh, I cannot live with that fact, right? I'm losing money. I think that's kind of like the scare part in people's mind, right? I'm confident. I'm just like, hey, you want to sell me stuff for cheap? I'm buying it. Oh, now's the best time to hoard stuff. You know what I mean? So now I'm interested in learning. Obviously, we're hearing your success story, right? But I'm sure, right? Like, not every single card is going to grade 10. It's impossible. I hope that's the case. But, what's your current gem rate? And, how do you cycle your inventory for the non-10s, and, is there a market for it, for example?
Right now, my gym rate is, I would say, 75% gym rate right now.
Oh my God, you're making me feel like I'm nothing. You're 75%? Guys, have you checked out his Instagram? It's ridiculous. That's 75%?
Yep. But it got harder because before, remember,
60-40. Now it's like 55-45.
and PSA also got more strict.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you think you'll ever relax out again? Like, were they strict back in the pandemic? Or was it always kind of like it got stricter as the search gets higher?
I think they got stricter when they moved the centering
Yeah.
over a little bit,
Oh, so recently
Like
we're talking about
like 5 over. So it's like 55,
45.
45.
But that's recent though. Did they ever do that before, or was it always 60-40?
It was used to be 60-40.
Man, I wish we can go back to the way it was, guys. I know. But yeah, I mean, so that's pretty crazy. Like with how you're accumulating the getting tens and stuff, and it's still 75%. We talked about this too, right? I would love for you to try to get a black label, because I know you wouldn't try it, but
Yeah.
but I think that would be like such a cool
It
flex.
haven't happened yet.
Yeah.
One
Well,
day.
One day. All right, I'm gonna show you all my cards that I want to send to Beckett, and we're gonna co-own a Beckett 10 black label together. Yeah, with a little diamond on it. Yeah. So okay, cool, man. Grading card obviously has the biggest ROI we talked about. And we talked in this almost 1 hour episode, right? All the ways you can do it. Any advice you want to give viewers who watch this and maybe inspired to try it out? What would you tell them to do? Like, how do you start out? Give them some advice.
My advice to them is you have to do it for yourself. You got to try it out yourself to know.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like I said, you could watch all the stuff.
Yeah.
You could watch all the stuff and learn it, watching it, but when you do it yourself, it's different.
Yeah. I mean, I just recently bought, a couple of tools, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna, make sure I look at this card legit. And I was like, man,
Because back then, like when I first opened packs, and then I look at the card, I'm thinking, is it the gems?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Fresh pack will be a gem.
Yeah, 100%.
So I send it in, and it'll come back like an 8.
Oh, yeah, that happened to me. Like, so the first, I don't know if you know, but the first card I pulled, I think I talked about it. First card I ever pulled that was like a chase was from the first Searching Spark booster box, and I pulled a Latias, right? And at that time it was like, I don't know, like $240, 300, and I'm like, we rich. This is easy, man.
Yeah, but then that's people's problem right there. Every time they open up a pack, when they look at the card, they're like, the first thing they look at, PSA 10.
Yep, they're biased. I'm biased.
You know what I mean?
I'm
It's like,
biased, right?
Not every card that come out of a pack is gonna be a PSA 10.
I mean, exactly, right? Like, but see, when you pull something like that, you're like, oh, it's mine.
Right.
It has to be.
It's gonna be a 10.
So it's always, look, guys, always get a second opinion. Let somebody else look at it and let them know. And let them tell you if it's a 10 or not. All right, they'll probably give you a better objective. They probably like, nah, it's not a 10. They're gonna try to prove you wrong. So yeah. No, that's good advice. I think, try again. If you guys want a method to try, right, maybe start with some lower cards, see how that goes. I don't know if a lot of you guys know this too, and Jack, I don't know if you even do this with your process, right? But PSA on their website, or even Beckett and every grading company, they show you the population report on a certain cards. They show you the 10, they show you the 9, they show you et cetera, et cetera. So if you want to know if your Charizard 151, for example, has a shot at getting a 10, go look at the population report, right? Do the population divided by whatever the 10 is. You know what percentage is grading a 10, right? Organically across the board. Of course, you got to see the condition and all that matter, but then you be like, how easy or how hard it is to get a 10 on that card. So that's something I've learned beginning when I was talking to a friend of mine, and they were like, oh, you can see what's the gem rate report to know how easy a card's grade back at 10 typically. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you look at something like that, or do you just say, yeah, I don't need to?
No, I just look at, what's the 10 and what's the 9.
Yeah, just
so
okay.
If the 10 is lower than the 9, then it's pretty much harder to
That's
grade that
true.
card.
That's true. I mean, I know you have horror story with the Greninja Gold Star.
Oh man, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about it. Tell me this Greninja Gold Star for the viewers that don't know.
I graded almost 85 Greninja and only got 110.
Yeah. Oh my God.
110 out of 85.
So for those, and I need to be educated too. We're talking about it's the celebration one, right?
We have the Celebration Greninja Gold Star.
Yeah, that Gold Star Greninja with the little stamp on it. Notoriously hard. For how hard it is to grade, I'm surprised how not expensive it is compared to other cards. It's crazy.
Yep.
And you're 85 and you got 110.
Well, think about it. I bought 250 sealed. Out of that 250 sealed, maybe 85 with it looks decent enough to send in.
Damn.
And then when they came back, only one.
Man, they wreck you on that too, huh? Oh man. Do you ever send well, you obviously send multiple copies back to back. I've heard other podcasts, right? And I've heard other people saying that if you want to get a 10, don't send them in sequential because the grader will always like look at and trying to compare each card together. What's your take on that? Do you care? Do you just say, I'm gonna send it all in?
I'm gonna set it all in. I think that's a myth.
Huh? Yeah, I also believe that's a myth.
I think that's a myth.
You know, because I absolutely think that, you know, people might not believe it when I say that, right? I don't think somebody's out there to get you in specifically, right? I think, you know, whoever's grading it has a standard that they have to operating by.
You gotta realize PSA make their money from
Grading.
upcharge.
Yeah,
So
upcharge
they want
grading.
you to get a 10.
See that, guys? Yeah, we're controversial, but we are honest, right? Like,
Yeah, they want you to get a 10, so that's where they make the money from.
yeah, yeah, getting upcharged from you. I mean, they would love to give you a 10, I think, but they also obviously making sure that they have integrity in the grading, right? Because that's actually most important. They can't just give everybody 10 because then that's the reputation, right? So yeah, no, I understand that. So I think that's pretty cool. I think what I've learned with my grading journey in the last, like, I don't know, 10, 11 months is also very similar to yours, right? Which is like, I don't know if you know that. First time I ever graded was with TAG. I talked about it. I got the 10. I think that was a positive reinforcement. But then I was like, okay, every other card I should really grade with PSA because, again, the currency logic kicked in. So I start grading with PSA, and my first submission was to GameStop, right? Like, and they came back. It was fine. You know, a certain card got A. Certain cards, like the Latias that I pulled, was an 8. And I'm like, I was so mad, man. But certain other cards got 10. And I tried it with Japanese cards first because I was doing mainly Japanese. But then more and more so I started doing with English. And, you know, Mark, Mr. Moss gave me that first Charizard. Shout out to you. Always, every episode I do a shout out to that man right there. Charizard hit a 10. My Umbreon hit a 10. My Gengar VMAX hit a 10. I think, like, again, those are anomaly. I'm like, man, I have a pretty good acumen for these kind of things. So, and I am always somebody who trying to, like, challenge and beat the system, right? That's why I like grading. I want to find that perfect card, and I want to be like, I'm right. So I always look for cards. I start learning, and the more you look at it, the more it makes sense. And some of the method you tell me, right? Like earlier you said, centering, right? How center the card is, the picture compared to the frame.
Yeah.
The corner, I didn't really look at that until more recently when you told me. I'm like, wow, yeah, it does make a difference. Like, I can see. And what we mean is the corner radius of where the card cut versus the round edges outside. You want to see that all four corners are...
You want to zoom in.
Yeah.
Really, really close.
Really zoomed in. See that they are from the distance where the sharp corner edges lined up on that picture to that radius. It's the same distance on the other side.
Yeah, it's kind of like a racetrack.
Yep, exactly. And now I notice, right, like, more recently the new cards sometimes they're like shifted, not like left, right, up, down, but like rotated. And I'm like, oh my god, I see it through the corner. Those are something you can only see through the corners, I think, you know.
That's something that might come back at 9 right there.
Yeah, I don't know if they're like thinking that because it's kind of still center because it depends on where you measure the 55 versus 45, right?
Yeah, so if they measure it on the top, then let's say the top is centered.
Yeah.
But then what about the bottom? If the card was slanted a little bit, wouldn't it make the bottom heavy on the other side, on the right side?
Yeah. So it depends on where you measure that, right? Kind of, it might get cooked. It might go 70-30 over there.
Yeah. Even if you're like 50-50 on top, but on the bottom, if it's like, you know, slanted a little bit, I don't think they're going to pass that.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I think more recently, more cards are more rotated, but yeah. So yeah, I think for me, it's like, my advice to people who want to learn grading is also, honestly, just do it, right? Like the Nike logo. Just do it. You have to be able to get real life data that is relevant to you. By data, I mean gem mint rate. What's your gem mint rate? Look at your submission. Submit 10 cards, for example, right? Yep. If 7 of them comes back a 10 and 3 of them doesn't, you're 70% gem mint rate.
My advice is, if it's your first time doing it, you should go for the cheaper cards.
Cheaper
Not
cards?
too cheap.
Yeah.
maybe like in the $20 range, then it's fine.
Yeah, because you still ultimately you're still gonna make a profit if you're looking to sell those cards, or hey, if you just really like those
Hey,
cards.
some cards like it's $20. You get it graded and it comes back at 10. It's you can sell it for 100.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, you know what Mr. Moss told me, because I at one point I asked him, I was like, "Do you think I should still grade cards if I don't think they were 10?" You know what he says to me? He was like, "Yeah, you should just still grade it." And I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, a 9 is just a raw card protected." And I'm like, "Huh, actually make a whole lot of sense."
Yeah, but then you just lost value.
Not true. Obviously, look, again, context is very important here, right? What we do from a vendor standpoint, from a grader standpoint, our goal is very different from a typical person who may want to just preserve a card, right? So again, lesson here is, grade just like anything else, right? Like you want to do it for your own reason, right?
Well, what kind of card did you grading?
I mean, at the time, I was just asking for general advice. I wasn't even like, oh, I want to grade this card, right? Obviously, you don't,
If it's, let's say if it was like a vintage card or something,
Sure.
so it doesn't really matter what grade it comes back. If the card is rare, then yeah, grade it.
Yeah, exactly, guys. I mean, yeah, like right now, I'm getting ready to submit a Coral Mew. I know it's not going to get a 10.
Hey, someone out there is trying to collect 1 to 10.
Yep. and even in not a 10, right? Like I got it at like, I want to say about 300 USD because I got it while I was in Japan.
Yeah.
A PSA 3 is going for more than $300. I'm like, my ceiling is only going to go up from there. You know what I mean? And I know this card condition is better than a 3, So you just got to do your research, right? Again, going back to what I was saying. Try it out. Test your gem rate. Even if you have to do it at the lowest service level, right? But test it out so you know what your successful rate is. And from there, see if you can improve it on the next batch, the next 10 card, being a little bit more harsh on yourself in terms of criteria of what to send in, and see if that improve.
Yep. And also remember, like, if you're gonna buy a card and send it in, the return time is pretty important.
Yeah. What do you?
Because if it comes back 2 months from now, you don't want to buy a card that's pumping, and then you send it in to get graded. By the time it comes back, it just bottom out.
Yep. Yep. Bottom out. You don't want that. Yeah. I think I have a funny story because I was at North Cal doing a show, and I remember buying the tag team Mew, the one, my famous Instagram picture where I was just, the angry Mewtwo. I got that card, still a pretty decent price, guys, right? I got it, I think at that time was around 300 raw. I graded, it was a very, very clean condition. I was very surprised because the lady who's the vendor next to me, she's a player. And she was like, "Oh, I just have these cards I'm selling today. I just want to make enough money to go play the tournament." I'm like, "Oh, let me look through them." And I'm like, "Oh, yes, right?" And I'm like, I pulled that card, graded a 10. So, but I was like, "Yeah, jackpot, right?" But it's still, by the time it came back, right, the price definitely dipped because everybody moved on from tag team.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll just keep it. I mean, the ROI is still there. I paid $300, and the card is still at $1,000, right? So. Don't be afraid to try. Just make sure you calculate your ROI, guys, and so you'll be fine on it. So, but yeah, man, I'm actually curious before we go to the final segment. I want to know: are you ripping anything right now? Are you opening stuff? Too expensive to rip?
Nope, not anymore. Learned my lesson during the pandemic.
We'll get to that. You want to get to the product showcase at this point? I know you bought this famous Charizard over here, so yeah, let you get through it.
This Hidden Fate Charizard GX right here was I would say this is the first Charizard that we pull as a family.
Nice. Yeah, that has to be special
so during
though.
that time when we opened this, like I just barely got into Pokemon, so I didn't know the value of the card. I just know it's a Charizard.
Yeah.
So when we were opening packs, we were not looking at value. We were looking at
Joy, man. Like
the
happiness.
actual card.
Yeah. A lot of people, I honestly hope you guys don't ever get to this point because we as vendor, and we do this kind of as a profession, we dealt so many cards. Now when I open, I'm like, open, book,
Yeah,
book,
now if
hollow.
now you open up packs, is all you're looking at value.
I know.
You're not actually looking at the card itself.
Yeah, unless you're hitting the top chase, you're like, ugh,
Even if you hit the top chase, it's like you see dollar signs.
Yeah, I know.
That's what the hobby is at now.
It's a lottery ticket, basically. That's what it is, right? You're buying packs as a lottery ticket, like hoping to get $3,000 out of this one pack that you paid $4 out of.
Pretty much this hobby right now is like people are gambling.
Yeah, yeah, and it's again,
it's not a trading card game anymore. It's
it's an asset class, right? This is what NFT was supposed to be. I would want to argue, and we're there now, right? Where this is art, but appreciated value of an asset class, financial institution are kind of now going into this also, right? So it is what it is, right? It also creates the market for us to get opportunities, right? You cannot always have the bad without the good. You always have to look at both sides of the fence. But yeah, as a hobby, I find myself almost opening other TCG stuff now just to have like fun, right? We enjoy opening One Piece. We enjoy opening Gundam. I told you recently I opened a lot of Gundam because for those who knows me, man, like I love Gundams. So when they say they got a TCG, I'm like, say no more. I'm buying those boxes. Funny story before I get to go back to your Charizard there. I was at Dallas this past weekend for Collector Expos, and I saw my dream card. And oh man,
what was your dream card?
it was. I'm ashamed to admit this because it's a Guna card. It was the Gundam Beta. Like, so I don't know if you know, before they released the first set, the GDO1, which is like the base set of Gundam.
I don't know too much about Gundam.
So think about like the first set of Gundam cards. Before that, they officially released a beta test version of the card set. So think of like the Pokemon beta cards. So they released that, and the top chase of that card is like one of the female character. But it's so pretty because it's like all has what's it called, cherry blossom on the back, and she's just like this like really crazy cool pose because she never usually do like cool stuff, Yeah. But she's like a very popular character from Gundam C. So it was just like this beautifully made card. And I'm like, man, I want that. You know how much that card goes for in a PSA 10?
How much?
$5,000. And I was like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, gorgeous card. I'm not gonna buy it because I was like, there's no like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm flushing down $5,000. Like for all I know, right? I could be flushing down $5,000 down the drain right now. But man, it's a gorgeous. I gotta show it to you guys. I'll put the picture up in here so you guys can see it, right? But yeah, super cool card. But I was like, no way that this thing is worth more or equivalent to my Gengar Sky Ridge PSA 8 right now. For a card that came out like 2 months ago. Damn it. I cannot justify it. So, but yeah. So that card, is that the exact same card that you pulled it with your family?
Yep.
Never go on sale, right?
Never gonna go on sale.
Nah, I love that. See, we professionals still actually have some, treasure hidden there, same thing. You guys already know my Bubble Mew story. That's stashed away. Never gonna see the day of light. That's memory I would never pass up. But anyway, so for me, getting back to something we talked about earlier, you asked me, was I successful in, buying a card off of eBay and grading it? The answer is yes, I was. And that's the showcase I have to do. So, now you guys watch the episode, you know how miserably I still failed this man's expectation. Mega Evolution came out recently. You guys know about a month ago. And first night, if you guys watch my Instagram story, first night my daughter pulls the Mega God of War. Super beautiful card. I actually like this card the best in the whole entire set. We immediately sent that off to grading. We got a 10 on that card. I think the week after that immediately pull, we sent it off to grading. I was like, man, I want to keep that forever, right? Because it's such a beautiful card. I don't want to sell that. So I was like, you know what? I was talking to you at the time. I was like, I'm going to try out this thing because in my mind at that time, right? Obviously now I know better watching this. I was like, when a new set launches, when they pump, like they dump the raw cards in the eBay, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, man, let me look this up. So I looked up this card. I saw a whole bunch of listings. Nothing worked. I saw this card and I was like, it feels pretty good. It looks pretty good. And I was like, yo, Jack, check this out. Is this a good picture? You looked at it. I think you texted me like, oh, it looks okay. Like, I don't know about this one corner over here. I think you told me. I was like, it'll be fine, man. Come on. So anyway, and that was right before I about to go to Japan. So I bought the card and you're like, hey, did you see you can now like submit the card straight from the eBay auction to get it graded? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm going to try it. So I bought the card, never looked at it, blind, sent it off to grading, and it came back a 10. So you guys know Mega God of War, Mega Evolution, PSA 10. This is the copy that I tested using Jack's method of sourcing online and sending directly from purchase to PSA and graded a 10. So the myth is real. You could do that. Okay. I'm not saying that to do every card like that, but it is possible. And this is proof of it. So
it just takes a lot of time.
it did. It drained me.
So how long did it take you to find that card?
Like, I want to say with trying your method and being able to like look at cards in real life versus from online, this took me at least, I want to say like together, probably 3 hour plus. Like, and then I know what I was looking for, right?
I should say, some days I might not even buy one card. So
Yeah, I know. I know. I know. I was like, just that's why guys, I'm geeking out here, man. Like, so much admiration for what this man does and how successful he is. So, all right, guys. With that said, we are about to wrap up this episode. Hopefully, we, in this conversation, give you guys some insights on some information. Maybe you want to try it out. Let us know in the comments section if this is helpful. What do you guys want to see? But before we wrap, Jack, I wanted you to show off some stuff, and then I know you have an announcement. So take it away, my friend.
what's that?
Yeah, you want to show that? It's cool, right? All right. What this is? Walk people through what you got today.
What?
Walk people through. Let's go.
What did I get?
Yeah, what did you get? I don't know. I don't know what this is.
This is TCG Table podcast
Invitation?
invitation for season 2.
That's right, guys. Yeah, we are doing something special. By the time this recording comes out, I'm sure you guys might see some stuff already, but I decided that I want to make every guest that comes through the TCG Table podcast feel special. And what better way to do that than to get a custom-made season 2 slab. So every season from now on, I wanted to kind of, if not doing the same thing, at least always trying to make it special for every guest. So this is a one of one, guys. You can only get that particular one for season 2 written on it. So hopefully you enjoy that. That is for you. And then, yeah, you're welcome. And I know you got something to, give away too. So take it away again. And this guy is a big one, guys. He's hooking you guys up.
So, as you know, for every collaboration that I do with anybody, I always give away something to the followers
Nice.
and the viewers. And this card right here is where I grade the most.
Yeah? I did not know that statistically.
Because in the beginning, I didn't know, much about Pokemon
Yeah.
and what to grade.
Yeah.
I grade promo cards the most.
Oh, man. You picked the worst idea to start off, bro.
They were cheap,
Yeah.
right? And they were pretty easy to grade.
Huh. Well, I guess
So
these days different.
that's how I start, my startup for
Ah,
promo card.
yeah. Plus, you open a whole bunch of hidden phase anyway,
I
so yeah,
did.
it
So
makes
that's
sense.
why I had a lot of this.
Ah, okay. So yeah, guys, this is the what is it? Articunos, Zapdos, and the Moltres, the Sting Glass Bird, aka one of the most sought after PSA 10 copies you can find. This is in fact a PSA 10 copy here, and man, it is a gorgeous card, right? Man, I'm very appreciative of you giving this to one lucky viewers, and we are going to give you guys specific instruction of how to obtain this card as the giveaway. So please stay tuned till the end of this episode where we're gonna give you that instruction, and then we'll also put it in the description on the channel here as well. But I'm sure it's gonna involve following both of us on YouTube, on Instagram, and all that. With that said, Jack, how does people find you? How do they know, more about you? What your social media?
I only have Instagram. There's no YouTube,
No TikTok
no
dance?
TikTok dance, only Instagram. You can find me on Nine Coins Collectible.
Nice. Yeah, we'll flash the little thing down there. You make sure people can follow you. I'm sure a lot of people is gonna have questions like, "Hey, Jack, take a look at my cards."
Like you.
Yeah. I bomb his DM all the time.
That's why I put my phone on sleep mode at 10:30,
That's right. Just ignore me.
just because of this guy.
Yeah. Like, no, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for jumping on today's podcast. You guys know who I am, Alan Lee, aka Pokemon Hero. I'm with Jack, Nine Core Collectibles here, and this is a wrap for another episode of the TCG Table podcast, guys. All right, we'll see you in the next episode. Peace. All right, guys, this is Alan with Pokemon Hero, and I am the host of the TCG Table podcast. So, this is the moment you all been waiting for. We have the Stained Glass Birds giveaway. All right, this is going to be the PSA 10 Stained Glass Birds, and we're going to be giving it away to one of you guys, lucky winner. This is how you're going to do it, okay? We are on the push to get our first 1,000 subscriber on the YouTube channel. So all you really have to do is subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notification, and then also like one of our videos, okay? So if you do all that, we are going to enter you into the drawing automatically. And we are going to be doing the drawing when we hit our first 1,000 subscriber. So stay tuned for that. And we want to give a big shout out to Nine Coins Collectible for sponsoring this giveaway. So good luck to you all, and we will see you guys soon, okay? Peace!